into these facilities.
But we are not going to they are not entitled to toasted hoagies. I'm sorry. Like this idiocy that I hear coming out of there with some of these, and then like some of these, liberal representatives that are they allowed to go up to the buffet for seconds? I'm like, what? That is what you're complaining about? So yes, all the standards will be met. Some of the stuff that we've seen put out there about, toasted hoagies and this and that, get real. It's going to be met to standards. And at Alligator Alcatraz, the staff eats the same meals that the detainees do prior to their deportation.
And Governor, you talk about you guys tackling a lot of complex tasks and you guys getting their job done. Do you believe you won't run into any red tape getting this deportation depot up and running?
Well, there's always going to be red tape thrown at us. Now, we will cut through any red tape at the state level 100%. But, we've seen, they're suing, people are suing on Alligator Alcatraz. They're going to try to find something to be able to throw sand in the gear. So that's inevitable that happens. That happens every time, we do. I hear some of these politicians are like, well, I don't know if we could do that. We may get sued. Like, I don't want to I get sued every time I wake up in the morning. They're suing us for something. And look, sometimes they'll find a liberal judge and then we win on appeal. But I absolutely expect that there's going to be folks who just object to the mission who are going to try to file lawsuits.
What is the most recent update we have with Alligator Alcatraz where the capacity stands right now?
So the capacity is, what do we probably have, over 1,000 right now? Or
Yes, sir. We have a capacity for 2,000 right now. We have right at 1,000 inmates.
And that's because they are removing people out of there. And that's good to see. Like I said, my goal is not, like Biden was using FEMA funds to put people up in hotels in Manhattan. And they're basically just sitting there. And then like in Massachusetts, they were doing the same thing. And then when the Army-Navy game was up there a couple years ago, the veterans couldn't get a hotel room because they had illegal aliens in there. That is not, we're not here to just kind of create like room and board. This is a part of intake, processing, and remove. There's a process that goes along with this. There is red tape, there is bureaucracy that the feds have to comply with, and so they need the space to be able to do it. So that's what it is, but I think you've seen it pick up in Alligator Alcatraz, so there'll be people there, and then there's also people moving at the same time. So the total census is a moving target, but that's really to be expected, and then we have enough space. If there's a delay, then obviously that census will rise, and then if they're doing more than one flight in a day, then that census goes down. So there's just a give and take on that. We're working with them to see if there's any way that we can be helpful to expand the removals from Alligator Alcatraz, and we'll do it from here too. We have not done any flights ourselves, right? It's all the federal government that's doing it. I think we would be able to help them with some of the flights internationally, if that's what they would need to be done. So I know they got an influx of cash. I know they're doing a lot of different stuff. But we have now, with this, we're going to have really strong capacity. And this is not like these two institutions are the only things. There are people that end up in like a jail, and they're charged with crimes or things like that who may be illegal, and they go through a process accordingly.
Do you know, obviously there's the federal court order right now halting new construction at Alligator Alcatraz. How much did that order factor into the need to stand this one up soon?
It did, because we have what we want at Alligator Alcatraz. We probably could do some more, but we were looking at a demand signal that is strong, and we did need this. And so that we were always planning on doing it. I just wanted to be sure that the demand was there. The demand is there. We've continued to operate Alligator Alcatraz for that. Now, we do know, it's obvious that this judge is hostile. It's not, this is a political thing. We get that. But we also know that we're right on the law, and if we don't win with the trial judge, we'll ultimately win going forward. I do think we'll get an adverse ruling stayed. I do think operations are going to continue. So I'm not worried about it. It's unfortunate we got to kind of deal with some of this stuff, but it just is what it is. You're doing you're doing stuff, and this has kind of been a cause celeb for folks who want to protest the Trump administration, and so they want to do this. Although I will tell you, the people protesting Alligator Alcatraz, is kind of as ridiculous as it was, because some of the people going there are some really, really problematic people. The most ridiculous was the thing where they hit me on carrying out the executions because some of these serial killers were veterans. And I'm just thinking, you have a lieutenant governor, it's a Green Beret, governor's a veteran, and they're the veteran friendly, and yet the governor is signing death warrants for, yeah, when you rape and murder young children, you're liable for that punishment. And if a jury of your peers, if you're convicted and awarded that punishment by a jury of your peers, it's my solemn responsibility to carry it out. The notion that somehow veterans would not want to see strong justice for serial killers. Some guy, one of the guys murdered his wife and kids in cold blood. Give me a break. Is that the best they can do to talk about this as some type of anti-veteran thing? No. It's anti-serial killer. It's anti-child murderer. It's anti-rape and murder. That's what we're doing, and we're upholding the law when we do it. So I just thought that was almost unbelievable that they would try to do it. Look, anytime you do anything, people take shots. Fine, that goes with the territory. But like sometimes it's like you may want to like pause and check that before you press send and embarrass yourself. So if that's what they're trying to do, that being pro-veteran to these people on the left mean running interference for child rapists and serial killers, I can speak for the lieutenant governor. Count him out and count me out. That is not what we signed up for. We signed up to protect the public. We signed up to stand up for victims. We signed up to make sure that our communities are safe. And so this is part of that process, and I just thought it was ridiculous.
A little off-topic question to this.
Timeline for construction of this force, I think we're going to be probably around 14, 15, 16 days. But again, as the governor said in his prepared remarks, we want to make sure that we do everything right. A building that's been dormant now for a couple of years is going to have some unforeseen challenges that we did not see at the naked eye. So, our timeline is probably going to be about 2 weeks. But again, we may run into some challenges. But, again, we do this very quickly. So I definitely believe it's going to be 2-3 weeks. We'll have this completely up and running.
Little off-topic question. There was another court ruling in the Middle District of Florida on book challenges, basically saying districts can't remove books unless they are subject to the Miller test. Does that apply statewide? What's your guidance to districts? I mean, do they need to start putting books that they've removed back on shelves? What's the scope of that?
I would have them consult with Stasi Kamoutsas, the Commissioner of Education. I don't think that that's the case. First of all, there is no basis to say that the public can enact laws to keep pornographic material out of these schools. I mean, the reality is this is an agenda that they're trying to jam into our schools, and that's something that parents don't want. It used to be this stuff wouldn't be in schools. Now it's like they want to use it as an agenda. So we'll ultimately win those challenges. I think we've won, most of the stuff that they've ruled against us on appeal thus far in this realm. It's not just the books. I mean, the performances where you have sexually explicit performances in these bars with like young kids present. We say no, that's something that's not appropriate. So I think that they should consult with the Commissioner of Education. But our view is, we will vigorously uphold and support the policies of Florida. They have been very friendly to parents. They have invested them with the right to know what's being taught and also the right to object to things that are not appropriate.
And how long was Deportation Depot on you guys' radar? Like, did you guys figure that out? You wanted to do that?
So when we had the plan that we submitted DHS a couple months ago, we envisioned more than one facility. When I stood up Alligator Alcatraz, I said, we're probably looking at another. I've been in Northeast Florida saying we were looking at doing probably at Blanding, just because we have existing infrastructure. This is just a much better deal, and so I'm glad we're able to do this.
And Governor, if I can add to that, I've been working with Secretary Dixon all along on trying to identify continuity sites. Again, if we have to evacuate, because again, we were accused of not being ready for hurricane season, which I know you know is absolute crap. But we have been working with the Department of Corrections to identify facilities that are all over the state of Florida. There's one here, there's one in Mayo, there's one in Chattahoochee, there's one in Arcadia, DeSoto County. So we've already been, we've been to those locations. Me and my staff have been to those locations, already identifying these potential continuity evacuation sites, if you will, that we can get up and running very quickly. So this has always been on the radar. We've been doing this for several months now. So again, this was not an after the fact, oh, that was a good idea, we should have done that all along. That's crap. This has been on our radar for quite some time.
This may be a question for you, Kevin. You mentioned the cost, $6 million to get this up and running. Obviously, Alligator Alcatraz was like 450 million. What would
It's
Camp
not
Landing?
450 million to get it up and running. They're quoted. First of all, it's not going. They're quoting for that to be a year of operation. We're just talking about the run up. It'll be about $6 million to get it operational.
What would Camp Landing have been? I'm just out of curiosity.
So again, we had, I had a master plan, if you will, that I talked to the governor about. There is a ongoing capital outlay project going on with the barracks there at Camp Landing. So Utopia would have been moving into those barracks that would have been hard-sided structures. That timeline probably would have pushed us into late fall, early winter. But again, the demand signal was there. We were ready for that demand signal either to go to temporary facilities at Camp Landing or to come to another location. That's ultimately what the governor decided to do. Again, as the governor just mentioned, it is not $450 million to do these type of things. The federal government has contracted with us and given us a grant for about $608 million that my chief of staff has been working for probably about the last 3 months now with Department of Homeland Security. So we are guaranteed $608 million in reimbursement that has been assigned to the Florida Division of Emergency Management for the purposes of running up to 5,000 beds. So the cost on what it would have taken to get Landing up and running was probably going to be somewhere with temporary structures and then moving into the permanent structures, probably $75 $100 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. We're going to be able to come here and get this up and running for 6. So this effectively it's Doge Florida style to support government Doge, and that is to come in at the lowest price point, and that's what we've done.
And I think it's interesting. I'm trying to think, and I mentioned the lieutenant governor, his operational expertise, and he's obviously already been involved in rescue efforts as a state senator. I told him, I said, hopefully we don't have a hurricane, but if we do, I don't know that you're going to be in the EOC with me. You're going to be with Jim Cantore. You're going to be out there reporting real time. You'll be the first one to do any rescues if anyone needs any help down there. And so, we're going to make you expeditionary. So I'm just kind of looking at this facility, trying to think like, okay, what can we use a Green Beret for, and kind of the immigration space and something like that. And I don't know if we need any airborne ops at some point, but I know Jay will be ready.
Governor, any message to Baker County residents in the area? Is this going to affect them at all, or is the process going to be seamless?
No, I don't think it. I mean, it could provide economic benefit because I think you'll just have more people here that are going to be, eating in local spots. I guarantee you that Busy Bee is going to do even better. That's right there off the interstate because, if you're going to the airport, I mean, that'd be the first place I would stop when I was done with that. And so I know that they've done very well. I know they've expanded in Florida. So yeah. So I mean, I think it'll be probably a positive economic benefit. It isn't going to be. They ain't escaping from here. That ain't going to happen. And so I don't think it's going to be something where people are going to have to worry about that. And if somehow there is an escape, then maybe I could send Jay on that task. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, so the very latest remarks from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, as you're taking a live look there from Jacksonville, Florida, what he was talking about is opening a second immigration detention facility at a state prison in North Florida, about 43 miles west of Jacksonville. So opening another so-called alligator Alcatraz right there. We are going to step away briefly. We do have a number of live events that are happening right now and others we are anticipating to get underway in just about 15 minutes or so. We're going to get to all of that after the break.
When the fall crawl starts creeping in, ditch the drastic tactics to keep bugs out. Spectracide Bug Stop Home Barrier delivers real results, both indoors and outdoors. With a formula that kills insects on contact, the pest-punishing power is yours to unleash. Plus, Spectracide Bug Stop Home Barrier provides up to 12 months of control, so your triumph lasts long after you spray. Spectracide, you hold the power.
This is the new Dell AI PC with Intel inside. It helps save you time because it does all your busy work for you, so you can get busy doing what you want to do.
Am I sad summer is over and the kids have to go back to school? Yes, so sad.
Bring on the new year with Kohl's Back to School sale. Save on styles they'll love all year, like their favorite jeans, tees, and more at Kohl's and Kohl's.com.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom. As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. We do have some live events happening right now, including one from Chicago that I just wanted to dip into a little bit. This is an announcement that appears to be expanding the public transportation system in Chicago. Let's listen in.
Station Change and Grow is transformative, and I'm really proud of the workforce and everyone who came together and put all their efforts into this beautiful station. Again, I would love to see projects like this and communities like this grow. And I want to thank everyone at Metro and, of course, Jim Derwinski. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Shanahan. I think I just lost a note there, but I'll get it. And while Jason is getting that for me, he can also prepare to come to the podium. We have Jason Osborne, Director of Intermodal Projects, Illinois Department of Transportation. Give him a hand.
Thank you. A few years ago, at one of these events, and it was pretty common a few years ago to talk about the partnerships needed to deliver a project like this. And I just want to highlight that the partnerships continue in this area, but now we're getting good at it. And that's worth noting. As we move forward and look at all the other project work that we need to do, it's the timely project delivery that is important. And my hope is that we'll continue to fund these things. And on this one, state didn't fund directly, our friends at the FRA did. But I appreciate it because our state sponsored services, which is a long way of saying the trains we paid to go to Milwaukee and to St. Paul, run along this way. So greatly appreciate this work. This is a beautiful project. And I hope this means the world to the neighborhood. I hope that they see this as their station, that they learn to love this station, and they have lots of memories here to come. Thank you.
Before I bring up our final speaker, I want to give a shout out to some attendees in the audience. Jessica Sewell, Director of Community Outreach for Senator Duckworth. Give her a hand. Natalie Wilford and Kelsey Somerville from the FRA. Give her a hand. Claire McNichols, Outreach Director.
Voilà, nous tapons suivre déclaration gouverneur Floride là, Ron DeSantis, c'est pour nous traverser Chicago avec autorité qui a parlé de questions de transportation. Il y a aussi élargi cadre là pour qu'il plus ce service chef d'État américain déclaré, c'est pour mettre garde nationale unitaire qui est au nombre de 800 pour avoir sécurité dans la cour Washington, capitale politique là, parce que selon chef d'État, crime a parué dans la cour Washington, mais reste là, Madame Bowser. Il n'est pas d'accord avec réaction de comportement chef l'État américain avec le reste administration fédérale. Vendredi, Kevin Nadal se parle pour parler avec Vladimir Poutine dans Alaska. C'est démarche qu'a fait pour essayer d'arriver à solutionner le problème conflit qui gagne en Ukraine ensemble avec la Russie depuis presque 4 ans. On a mouru dans le cadre de combat si là, d'après information. Parlementaire démocrate qui a quitté Texas pour le cacher pour que tu es capable de participer dans l'Assemblée pour un quorum républicain retourner, ils ont décidé alors retourner la caillou pour faire face à la responsabilité que ils ont gagné. Information sur l'autre nous va développer pour le journal 13h sur le pour la Pstars FM radio et télévision. Nous demandons pour être avec nous s'il vous plaît.